Student, as I told you, the viscous force is depend on the some parameters, like F is directly proportional to the coefficient of the viscosity, that is I am representing by neta. Okay, so that is A. The radius of the spherical body, that is R, and the velocity of the body that I am considering, that is it is V. So when I am removing this proportionality sign, so F is equal to K neta A R B V to the power C. Okay, so I am just substituting here the dimensional coefficient values of these all. So F, it is a force, so its dimension is mlt minus 2, that is a constant here. Then the neta, so its dimension is ml minus 1 t to the power minus 1. R is a radius, so its dimension is L, and V is the velocity, so its dimension is Lt minus 1. Then here the power A, B, C is given, so put here A, B and C. Okay, so now it is mlt minus 2 is equal to K. Now see here, m सिर्फ यहीं पे है, so it is m to the power A, L पे power minus A, L power B, L power C. So that means this is coming minus A plus B plus C. Then T to the power minus A and minus C. This one is will come. Okay, now do the comparison on the both side. So now you will get A is equal to 1, minus A plus B plus C is equal to 1, and minus A minus C is equal to here minus 2. Okay, so here A is equal to 1, so that means if this, suppose this is equation number 2, this is equation number 3, substitute this value here, so it is coming minus 1 minus C is equal to minus 2, C transpose this side, and this one is coming here, so C value will come 1. Now put A and C in the equation number 2, so it is minus 1 plus B plus 1 is equal to 1, so you will get B is equal to 1. Okay, so now A, B and C, all three values are 1. Substitute this value into this one here. F is, sorry, here nahi, isme F is equal to K neta divided by R to the power B into the power C. So if you will substitute the value here, so it is neta R V. Okay, K neta R V for, अब ना हम यहाँ पे क्या करेंगे, K की वैल्यू रखेंगे. ठीक है, तो हम ये कहते हैं कि फॉर ए स्मॉल स्फीयर K इज इक्वल टू 6 पाई. Okay, so F is equal to 6 pi neta R V. This is the proof of the Stokes law. Dear students, this is the proof of flow of liquid through pipes, and this formula is known that we are going to prove, that is known as Poiseuille's formula. Actually, in this question, in this proof we will do the flow of liquid through pipe. So this flow of liquid through pipe is directly we can say that it is equal to the volume of liquid flowing per second, volume of liquid flowing per second, and this volume of liquid flowing per second, that means V upon T, volume of liquid flowing per second, it's V upon T, is depend on the some parameters, and these parameters are rate of the you can say the viscosity of the liquid. So first thing, that is rate of the flow of a liquid, or they can say the rate of the discharge through a pipe. Okay, it will depend on the first viscosity, then the radius of the pipe, and third is the pressure gradient. Okay, so that means Q is equal to V by T is directly proportional to the neta A R to the power B P by L to the power C. So when I am removing this proportionality, then it is equal to K. So Q is equal to K neta to the power A R to the power V P by L to the power C. Now I have to find out this the flow of the dimension of flow of liquid through pipe, because it is not given, but if you will see Q is equal to V by T, V means volume, so dimension of the volume is LQ, dimension of time is T, so that means from this one I can write LQ T to the power minus 1. So here dimension of Q I have written LQ T to the power minus 1. Okay, then the viscosity of the liquid, neta I have written ml to the power minus 1 t to the power minus 1 a. Then radius dimension is L, P by L, this is your pressure gradient. So it is dimension of this pressure gradient is ml to the power minus 2 t to the power minus 2. Okay, so I have opening the bracket here. So m will come together here, a plus c, L minus a plus b minus 2c, and t to the power minus a minus 2c. If I am comparison both sides, here m is missing, so that means I can write m to the power 0. So if you will compare it, three equation you will get: a plus c is equal to 0, minus a plus b minus 2c is equal to 3, and minus a minus 2c is equal to minus 1. A plus c is equal to 0, minus a minus 2c is equal to minus 1. If you add these two equation 1 and 3, a and a will be cancelled, so it is minus c is equal to minus 1, you will get c is equal to 1, this one. Substitute this c is equal to 1 into the first equation, you will get a is equal to minus 1. Then a and c value substitute in the equation 2, you will get the value of b, that is 4. So these three values a, b and c you will substitute in this equation number 1. Q is equal to k, neta a to the power a, r to the power b, p by l to the power c. So when you will substitute the powers here, you will get that Q is equal to k into pr to the power 4 upon neta l. Practically, the value that we will get for the value of k is pi by 8. So Q is equal to pi by 8 pr to the power 4 upon 8 neta l. Okay, this is the formula that is known as Poiseuille's relation, and with the help of this formula we will find the viscosity of a liquid. If we arrange this one to find out the viscous resistance, by the viscous resistance we find, if you know, suppose we are going to compare the glycerine with the water and both are flowing through the pipe, who will offer the more viscous resistance? So to calculate this one, we just rearrange this one. Okay, leave the p on the numerator and rest all things will come in the denominator. So the denominator portion, as you compare with the electricity formula, I is equal to V by R. I means the rate of the flow of charge. Okay, so here it is the rate of the flow of liquid through the pipe. So both are the similar thing. So that means the resistance is 8 neta L upon pi R to the power 4. We are comparing this rate of the flow of liquid to the rate of the flow of charge in current electricity. Okay, so this part which is come in the denominator, that is known as viscous resistance. If you compare this one, you will find viscous resistance is directly proportional to the your viscosity of the liquid. R is directly proportional to the L, and your R is inversely proportional to the fourth power of the radius. That means if you will increase the length of the pipe, okay, then also the viscous resistance will increase. If you will increase the viscosity, coefficient of viscosity, then also the resistance will increase. And if you will decrease the radius, then also the resistance, viscous resistance will increase. Okay, this is the proof of flow of liquid through pipes. Dear student, this is the proof of the Bernoulli's theorem. So before the starting of this proof, first we have to understand the statement of the Bernoulli's theorem. The statement is that when an incompressible and non-viscous liquid, or you can say the fluid, flows in a streamlined motion from one place to another, then at every point of its path, the total energy per unit volume, the total energy means the pressure energy, kinetic energy and the potential energy, is constant. It means P plus half rho V square plus rho GH. P means the pressure energy, half rho V square is the kinetic energy, and rho GH is the potential energy. Some of these energies will be constant. So Bernoulli's theorem is just the application of the principle of continuity. In the principle of continuity statement, according to the statement is that when an incompressible and non-viscous liquid flows in a streamlined motion through a tube of non-uniform cross section, then the product of the area of the cross section and the velocity flow is same at every point. So this is just the application of the principle of continuity. Okay, so I will just draw here the one diagram. Okay, it is the flow is the streamline, but if you will see here, the this one at the x point and the y point, the area is different. So I am just consider here the some points here, like an incompressible and a non-viscous liquid is flowing into this tube xy, okay, whose cross section is not uniform. A1 and A2 is the areas of the cross section of the tube at the point of x and y. It is not, tube is not kept horizontal. Okay, so here the height of this one from the ground is h1, and here the height is from the ground, it is h2. Okay, like the pressure, P1 is the pressure at the point of x and the velocity is v1. Okay, and at the point of y, your pressure is P2 and the velocity of the flow of the liquid is v2. Okay, you know that by the principle of continuity, a1 v1 is equal to a2 v2, or a1 upon a2 is equal to v2 upon v1. So here this area is large, okay, this area is less, so your a2 is less than a1, so your v2 is greater than v1. Okay students, so now at the point of x, okay, the liquid which is entered through this point x, its velocity is v1. So I am just going to calculate the work done per second. So velocity is equal to distance upon time. So time is 1 second, so that means in 1 second your liquid will cover the distance v1. Okay, and the pressure which is act on this point, okay, that pressure is P1 into A1. Okay, now the work done per second, force into distance, force means pressure force is P1 into A1, distance we are at per second that we are going to calculate, so it is a v1. Similarly at the point of y, your velocity is v2, velocity means the flow of the liquid. So in 1 second the distance which is covered by this at the point y, it is v2. Okay, so work done at the point of y, this is P2 into A2 into v2. So the net work done on the liquid is W1 minus W2. So P1 A1 V1 minus P2 A2 V2. But you know that from when the because we are going to calculate here the work done per second, so the volume of liquid which is enter on this point or the volume of liquid is going out from this one, both must be equal. So it means if the volume will be equal, so that means A1 V1 area into distance. So area into distance means volume. So V1 is equal to V2 you can say, so it means A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. So this is the volume. So density is equal to mass upon volume. So volume is equal to mass upon density. So mass I am representing by m and density I am representing by rho. So the net work done from this one, A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2, so that I can write m upon rho. So m upon rho is taking common from this one, so you will get P1 minus P2 is equal to m by 2. This is your equation number 1. Okay, so this will give you the value of the pressure energy. Now the second point, at the point x, I am just going to calculate here now the kinetic energy. Okay, so kinetic energy of the liquid which is entering into the x side in 1 second, it is half mv1 square, and at the point of y in 1 second it is kinetic energy half mv2 square. You know that this thing, okay, this velocity of this one is more than the velocity of v1, so that means the kinetic energy 2 is greater than the kinetic energy 1. So that means the pressure increase in the kinetic energy of the liquid is KE2, यानी कि kinetic energy second minus kinetic energy 1, so it means half mv2 square minus v1 square. So this is also the increase in the kinetic energy of the liquid that I have written expression number 2. So again I am just going to calculate the third part, that is your potential energy. So if you will see the diagram here, the H2 is less than H1, so that means the potential energy at this point will be less than the potential energy at the point of x. So at the point of x your potential energy is mgh1, and at the point of y this is mgh2. So decrease in the potential energy because height decrease हो रहा है. So decrease in the potential energy of the liquid is K, potential energy is first minus potential energy 2. So mgh1 minus h2. So the students, the increase in energy due to the work done on the liquid. So this is the net work done, which is net increase in the energy. So this is your net work done, okay, and these are the some part of the energy that we have to calculate. So that means P1 minus P2 is equal to m by rho. It should be equal to the net increment or the decrement of the kinetic and potential energy. So P1 minus P2 is equal to m by rho. It is equal to 1 by 2 kinetic energy, and it is a decrease, so that's why I have put here the minus sign. Okay, so P1 minus P2 m by rho is equal to 1 by 2 m V2 square minus V1 square minus mg H1 minus H2. M will be cancelled. Rho will be transposed to the right hand side. So P1 minus P2 is equal to 1 by 2 rho V2 square minus V1 square minus rho g H1 minus H2. So now I am just going to open the bracket, and all the negative terms will come on the left hand side from here, and the minus P2 will go to the right hand side. So when you will open the bracket, it is minus half rho V1 square go on this side. This is minus rho g H1 go to the left hand side. So P2 will go to the right hand side. So you will get this type of the expression: P1 plus half rho V1 square plus rho g H1 is equal to P2 plus half rho V2 square plus rho g H2. If you will compare on the both sides, then you will get the P plus half rho V square plus rho GH is equal to constant. This is the Bernoulli's equation. P means here the pressure energy, okay. Half rho V square is your kinetic energy, and rho GH is your potential energy. So this is the student proof of the Bernoulli's theorem. Class, the last proof of this chapter is the velocity of the efflux of a liquid. That is the Torricelli's theorems. So in this proof, there are 2-3 steps are there where you can prove this Torricelli's theorem. So I am using here the one vessel, and the liquid is filled up to the height h, and there is a one orifice there at a depth of h below the free surface of the liquid. Okay, so orifice is here, and the orifice is below at the from this free surface at a depth of h. So the pressure at the free surface of the liquid and also at the orifice is atmospheric pressure. So there will be no effect of the atmospheric pressure on the flow of the liquid from the orifice. Okay, so the liquid on the free surface has no kinetic energy, but due to this height h, it is having only the potential energy. While the liquid which is coming out from the orifice is having both the kinetic energy also and the potential energy also. Okay, so I have just here some consideration I have taken here, like the P is the atmospheric pressure, rho is the density of the liquid, and V is the velocity of the efflux of the liquid which is coming out from it. Okay, so according to the Bernoulli's theorem, the sum of the pressure and the total energy per unit volume of the liquid must be same at the surface of the liquid and at every point on the orifice. That proof I am taking it here, Bernoulli's theorem. So the pressure energy, kinetic energy, and the potential energy. This P is the pressure energy. Okay, so you can write here, this one is P dash, which I am. So it is pressure energy, kinetic energy, and potential energy is constant. So pressure energy I am writing by P. No kinetic energy, as I told you, at the surface, free surface. So it is 0. Potential energy is rho g h. Use capital H because of this height. Then P plus half rho V square plus rho g h minus h. This is the height. From the free surface is h. So that means from this surface to this surface, the height is capital H minus h. Okay. So now P will be cancelled. So half rho V square is equal to rho g h. Rho also cancels. So V is coming under root 2 g h. If you will see this V is equal to under root 2 g h, and you just remember the laws of motion you told me, if a body is dropped from a height h, that time initial velocity is 0, and that time the same equation you will get, V is equal to under root 2 g h. Okay. So the velocity of the efflux of a liquid from an orifice is equal to the velocity which the liquid acquires in falling freely from the free surface of the liquid up to the orifice. That is also called the Torricellian theorem. So now I am just coming on this point of the orifice. When the water is coming out, it is follow the parabolic path. Okay, if you will see, this is the parabolic path, and the distance which is covered by this liquid, it is suppose it is a x. So I am using here again the Newton's law of motion, that s is equal to ut plus half at square. So initially the velocity is 0, so u is 0, so s is equal to, we will get half at square. S is equal to ut plus half at square, u is 0, so s you will get half at square. Because it is in term of height, so instead of a we are using the term of g, acceleration due to gravity. So here s is equal to half gt square. S means the distance, or you can say the height here from the ground. So height from the ground is h minus h is equal to half gt square. Transpose the values here and you will get the time t is equal to under root 2 h minus h upon g. This is the time which liquid takes t second falling through a vertical distance. Now the horizontal distance, because the acceleration on the horizontal direction is 0, so the horizontal velocities remain the constant here. So the horizontal distance is equal to horizontal velocity into time, v into t. We have proved under root 2 gh. Time we have find it here, so you substitute the g will be cancelled here, so you will get the value of x is 2 under root h minus h. Now if you will see here, this x, that means distance, horizontal distance, is directly proportional to this one. So the maximum value of x you will get when this value is maximum. So for to getting the maximum value we have to differentiate this one. So I am just differentiating in term with respect to h of this equation. So I am just opening the bracket h minus h square, because I am differentiating this one. So d by dh of h is 1 and d by dh of the h square is 2h. So it is h minus 2h, h is equal to h by 2. Substitute this value here and you will get the maximum value of the horizontal distance is h. So it means when the orifice is exactly in the middle of the wall of the vessel, h is equal to h by 2, the stream of the liquid will fall at a maximum distance, or you can say the equal to the height of the liquid in the vessel. So this is the last proof of this chapter, velocity of efflux of a liquid, it is tow resilient. So now the flow of liquid, all proofs we have done.